Midday in KELOLAND.
Businesses in Brandon assess the damage left behind by last week's historic flooding. Plus,
the U.S. Supreme Court hands down a landmark decision on presidential immunity. I'm Nidia Cavazos with how this affects former President Donald Trump's criminal prosecutions.
good afternoon and thanks for having us in. Earlier this morning, Sioux Falls police officers responded to reports of a robbery at a business near downtown. Reports say after 9 a.m. that the suspect entered the bank, demanded money, and received an undisclosed amount of money. The suspect then fled the area. Eyewitness reports led to the suspect being identified. Then, an hour later, the suspect is reported to be in police custody. The Sioux Falls Police Department continues to investigate. A jury has convicted a mother and son of second-degree murder and other assault charges in Bridger, South Dakota. 47-year-old Theodora Belt and 23-year-old Bailey Belt face up to life in custody. The convictions come from an incident that happened on May 27th on the Cheyenne River Reservation. Theodora and Bailey Belt were at the victim's home when an argument happened, leading to the Belts beating the first victim and then hitting him with a shovel. As the victim laid on the ground outside the home, he was run over with Theodora's car, ultimately killing him. Bailey Belt also hit a second victim in the head with a shovel, causing him to be life-flighted to Rapid City for medical treatment, where he survived. Pivoting to weather, we're watching for chances of more rain before the day finishes up, Adam.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to talk about another chance for rain as we flip the calendar to July now. It doesn't feel like it outside, especially if you're in eastern portions of KELOLAND. It doesn't look like it for that matter either. 63 and cloudy with a view from our camera downtown. Also pretty windy, south wind at 19 miles per hour, but we're going to stay cloudy at least for a little while longer, maybe getting a little bit of sunshine in there later in the afternoon, but it's going to be a battle. Not so much in winter though. Got a little bit of blue sky up there. 77 in Tripp County, south wind at 15 miles per hour, but where we're getting that sunshine to build in, that's where we're warming up. 81 for Mobridge, 86 in Phillip, 80 as you head toward Rapid City, 78 Buffalo, 76 over in Faith. Compare that to 65 for Mitchell and Huron, 62 in Yankton, 75 though up toward Aberdeen, and Watertown sitting at 70. But you notice it's also windy. It's also a southerly wind, which is trying to bring in a little more instability. Either way, that's south wind at 15 to 25 miles per hour in central and eastern KELOLAND. A calmer breeze out west, but we'll see if that holds as we go into the afternoon and evening. Right now, just a couple of showers and thunderstorms over in eastern and southeastern portions of KELOLAND. This will gradually push on over and toward the Buffalo Ridge of Minnesota, toward the Marshall area. But we're going to watch out to the west for a little bit of redevelopment later this afternoon and into the evening. That's why we still have that slight risk in place in yellow level 2 for a majority of KELOLAND, and a marginal risk now up for Hardin County, as well as the I-29 corridor from the North Dakota border to right about Sioux Falls, and then Sioux Falls points east along I-90. Still, all forms of severe weather are going to be possible later this evening, so be sure to stay weather aware. We'll have highs on either side of 70 in southeastern KELOLAND today. More cloud cover. Even with that southerly wind in place, it's not going to do too much to warm us up. To the north and east, low 70s. Again, more cloudy than sunny, with a chance for some thunderstorms later in the evening and also overnight. See some strong to severe weather up that way. And out to the west, that's where the difference comes in. Once you cross the river, it warms up with all that extra sunshine. 80s and low 90s for highs, but you also could see some stronger thunderstorms later in the day. We'll talk about the rest of your 7-day forecast coming up in a little bit.
Thank you, Adam. The owners of a Brandon business are getting their first look at some of the damage left behind by recent floodwaters. Split Rock Creek covered a majority of the land at Cherry Rock Farms until a few days ago. Owner Marco Patzer says some of the vegetables were underwater for a day or two, where others were submerged for 4 days. He estimates that they lost 70% of their crop, but they're not giving up on the season.
Yeah, some of the things, are a short enough season type of a crop that we can replant and still get a crop. Some of the longer season stuff, like maybe the watermelon and tomatoes, it's getting a little bit too late to replant some of that stuff.
They hope to be open for the summer later this month. We'll tell you about the unusual discovery the family made on their property after the flooding tonight on KELOLAND News. The numbers are in when it comes to visitation at Falls Park during the worst of the flooding downtown. Experience Sioux Falls says more than 3,400 people stopped by the visitor center to see the raging falls on Saturday, June 22nd. That's an 80% increase from a typical Saturday.
People love the falls. When they're down, they talk about it. When the rocks are showing, they love the rock. And when there's water, they love that too.
Terry Schmidt says the 80% increase is a low estimate because it didn't count all the people who checked out the falls without going into the visitor center. We'll hear from park visitors about why they're drawn to the falls as the water recedes in tonight's Eye on Keloland at 10. The U.S. Supreme Court ended its term today with a landmark decision on presidential immunity. The decision has a direct impact on former President Donald Trump's current legal troubles. Nydia Cavazos reports from outside the Supreme Court.
In a 6-3 opinion, the Supreme Court ruled Monday that former presidents have absolute immunity from prosecution for official acts related to their core constitutional powers. But the court said there is no immunity for unofficial acts and gave some guidance on how lower courts can draw that line.
For those things that are just within the president's ambit, absolute immunity. For official acts in general, at least presumptive immunity. For unofficial acts, no immunity.
Former President Donald Trump has repeatedly argued that he had absolute immunity.
You have to give a president full and total immunity.
In a scathing dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote about the potential dangers of this decision on U.S. democracy. The ruling affects Special Counsel Jack Smith's prosecution of Trump for election interference for his role in the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. The case now goes back to the lower court, which will have to look at what acts are official and what are unofficial.
There is an enormous amount of legal work that is now going to have to unfold over the next several months.
By waiting until July to issue their ruling, the justices have severely reduced the likelihood of Trump standing trial before the November election. Nydia Cavazos, CBS News, the Supreme Court.